Welcome to Chromium, the Mutable. As far as opening hand goes, yeah, I love it. It's pretty, not a whole lot of card draw action, but as far as artifacts goes, yeah, we'll definitely keep on this one. This is an artifact build of Chromium, which I'll definitely cover here in just a second, though. Let's kind of get our stuff rolling, though. Let's go and lead off with Scalding Tarn. It's almost kind of playing out Modern Affinity. Yeah, let's go and go for it. Let's go and go for Mox Opal. Let's go for Mox. We'll be able to get down Minecraft next turn. We'll have Metalcraft online. Then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. We're playing Chromium, the Mutable. Flash, flying. The spell can't be countered. Then discard a card until end of turn. Chromium becomes a 1/1 human with power toughness 1/1, loses all ability, gains hexproof, and can't be blocked this turn. So got some really fun stuff in here. I'm really excited about this deck. In fact, got a couple different win conditions we'll cover in a second. Let's cover our opponent's commander playing against Najeela. Playing against the Blade Blossom. Really excited about this. This is actually my first match against her. So we'll see how this warrior build goes. It actually reminds me that Battle Bond is finally on Magic Online, so I need to get that going. Let's go ahead and get down Tundra. And we actually go for Everflowing Chalice for 2. Yeah, I think that sounds good. Let's go and crack Scalding Tarn. Let's go and grab a black-blue source off of that one. Get this popped out. I'm always worried about clicking on the wrong land. Let's grab Underground Sea. Let's go and tap out for Everflowing Chalice for 1 kicker. You can cast Everflowing Chalice for 1... Excuse me. There we go. Yeah, with multi-kicker. There we go. Click 1. And then for 2. Okay, there we go. I'm always really worried about casting it for nothing. It's not going to be a lot of fun. It's going to get down Mind Crank. That's going to be 1, and then Everflowing Chalice, and then everything else. We're going to go pass turn to our opponent. Playing against the Blade Blossom. Whenever a warrior attacks, you may have its controller create a 1/1 white warrior creature token that's tapped and attacking. Then for Wooburg, untap all attacking creatures. They gain trample, lifelink, haste until end of turn. After this phase is an additional combat phase. Activate this ability only during combat. So we'll see our opponent's going to get out there. But yeah, I'm really excited about building the Blade Blossom. I don't really have any warrior decks or any 5-color stuff. You know, they did release Joda, but I just didn't really know where to take Joda. You know, you can go big spells with Joda, and I had a couple different ideas pop up, but I'm still going to do Joda. But it's just one of those, I kind of wanted to take my time with it. But it's really fun to kind of build a 5-color just aggro deck, something that just wants to swing in with a bunch of warriors. And in fact, if you play the Blade Blossom, if you have any ideas for me, hop in the comments, let me know. I always like to read those comments, and you know, if I have a certain idea thread I can work off of, and then kind of go from there, I'll definitely do that. All right, opponent's going to be swinging with Rush Blade Commander. Warriors, your team's control, half haste. All right. So we're drawn to Talisman of Dominance, okay. Now, is there any certain way we need to sequence this? Let's say we get down Monolith. We're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and get down Talisman of Dominance. Yeah, I like that. We get down Talisman of Dominance. I'll put us online with Monolith, and that way we don't have to worry about tapping out on that mana. All right, let's get down Monolith. It's going to be 1, 2, 3. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. But as you can tell, this is not a traditional build of Chromium. We have a really heavy artifact theme within here. As you can tell, we have Mind Crank on the battlefield. I love Mind Crank. It's one of my favorite combos to play. We have Dustmantle Guildmage hanging around in here somewhere. So if we can get down Dustmantle Guildmage on the battlefield, I'll be able to have a party with some of those warriors. Now, outside of like stuff like Dustmantle Guildmage, we're also running the Thopter Foundry combo. I love playing Thopter Foundry combo. It's a lot of fun to get that going. If you're not familiar with it, it's Sword of the Meek and what's the other one? Sword of the Meek and Thopter Foundry, yeah. So you sacrifice Sword of the Meek, it goes to the graveyard, you get a 1/1 Thopter, you gain a life, then Sword of the Meek's in the graveyard, says, hey, 1/1 creature enter the battlefield, I get to put this on there. And so, yeah, basically for every mana that you have, you can sacrifice your Thopters, or sacrifice Sword of the Meek to get those Thopters on the battlefield, and gain a pretty good chunk of life. Opponents are going to get on Blade Seeker, enters the battlefield, each player on your team may discard a card, each player who discards a card draws a card. Okay. And they discard Path off of that one. Drawn to Swords to Plowshare. Now, at this point right now, we are looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have actually more than enough mana to get down Chromium. We could go for Paradox Engine if we wanted to tap out for that. Yeah, our opponent's only sitting at 3 mana. Yeah, let's go and do that, because it's going to be, that'll be just tapping out on all of our artifacts. Then we can kind of start worrying about Chromium. Yeah, I think I like that. It's going to be 1, 2, 3. Let's get down Paradox Engine, and then anything else, we're going to go and pass turn to our opponent. The other combo that we are running in here, which is a lot of fun. We don't really get too far with the combo, but it's Paradox Engine. As long as you have more than 1 mana dork, not mana dork, but mana rock on the battlefield, at least generating at least 4 mana, and then Chaos Wand. So you go for a Chaos Wand activation, pay that 4 mana, cast a spell out of your opponent's deck that's going to untap all of your mana rocks. So you kind of get into the spot to where, depending on how many instant or sorceries they have in their deck, you can really kind of start churning through your opponent's deck and kind of have a lot of fun off of that one. So that's kind of the 3 main win conditions for the deck. Other than that, we have some good Voltron pieces for Chromium with stuff like Sword of Feast and Famine and Sword of Fire and Ice to kind of get that going. All right, opponent's going to be swinging in. That's going to be 6, and that will be 8 coming across. And then with the those warrior tokens, that will be 11, putting us all the way down to 10. Now, we do have Swords to Plowshare, which will be online with Chromium once we flash that in. So we can actually use that to exile something. Yeah, we'll probably end up doing that one before they go to combat step. Let's go and get down Fetid Pools, have that come into play tapped, and then anything else, let's go and kick the turn to our opponent. But yeah, we're looking at flashing in Chromium at this point right now, and we'll at least be able to kind of chump block on some of these creatures with Chromium, kind of go from there. Let's see what else they're going to get down before we flash in Chromium. Okay, opponent's going to go for Decorated Champion. Whenever it enters the battlefield, whenever another warrior enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1 counter on Decorated Champion. Okay, that's fine. I think I said Devoted Champion. I meant to say Decorated Champion. All right, before we go to combat, let's go and flash in Chromium. That's going to be 1, 2, 3. We want to make sure that we definitely leave up. We'll actually have mana online with Mox Amber because we'll have a legendary creature on the battlefield. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3. Let's make sure we tap out for Esper colors and then tap out for blue off this Mox Opal. Let's go and tap out for Chromium. It's going to be 1, 2, 3. And we need to tap out for one more off of Everflowing Chalice. So we're able to untap all of the our artifacts that we control. Oh, see if we can add some mana. It's not going to matter, but I'm really bad about doing that. Well, it's not going to matter in this one. So sometimes that happens to where we cast something and like, oh, please let's get this Paradox Engine trigger going. All right. And then let's go and go for Swords to Plowshare on our opponent's commander with 1 white mana. Be able to untap our mana rocks and then kind of go from there. If we had more cards in the hand, I would definitely be adding some mana to our mana pool, but unfortunately with 0 cards in the hand, there's not really a whole lot that we can buff or bluff off of this one. So we'll see how our opponent wants to swing in on this one. Okay, they do have, I thought our opponent wasn't going to swing in for a second, but they do end up sending the entire crew. Let's go ahead and chump block on the Blade Seeker. I think that's going to be a good block. So we'll go for the block on the Blade Seeker. That will be at least a 5. That will be 7 coming across, putting us down to 4. So we'll need to find some sort of answer to get onto the battlefield. If we do draw into Dustmantle Guildmage, we might be able to combo off with that one. We'll see what we draw into, though. But other than that, they're going to have more than enough to swing across next turn. Yeah, we might have underestimated the haste off the Rushblade Commander. So we'll see what else they're going to tap out for. Opponent's going to go for Rest in Peace. Now, actually, Rest in Peace completely shuts off the Mindcrank combo. So even if we do draw into it, but we'll not get the combo going. We do draw into Pull from Tomorrow. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go and tap out on Monolith. I guess if we're taking some damage, but no, we actually had colorless mana to our mana pool. Tap out on that. Let's go blue off that, blue off Mox Amber. And then, do we need to leave up Underground? That's going to be us drawing 5 cards. We'll be able to untap a lot of this stuff. Let's just see as many cards as we can draw, because that still is going to give us access to about 1, 2... We'll still have access to 3 colored mana, which typically is more than enough in this deck. So let's just go and tap out for this Pull from Tomorrow, and then we'll be able to untap all of our mana rocks. So that's going to be double blue. We'll be drawing 8 cards off of this one. Untap all of our non-land permanents. Okay, I'm drawn to Arcane Denial, Baleful Strix, Jace. Now, either way, let's say we get down, we need to discard 1 card. Okay, let's go and get rid of at this point right now. We'll get rid of Temple of Silence. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get down Fetid Heath, because we have Chromium to block, at least on the 2/2, and then Jace on the other one. Yeah, we can survive this. We've got a little bit of options. Let's go and get down Fetid Heath. Let's go and tap out for Baleful Strix. Actually, if we go for Contraband Kingpin, because we're going to have at least a 1, 2, 3, we'll have access to 4 colored mana. We're looking at Contraband Kingpin and Baleful Strix. Let's do this. Let's go Mox Opal, double black. We'll add double black off Fetid Heath. And then let's go and add blue off of Mox Amber. Let's go and get down Baleful Strix, see if we can't draw into something else. I'm going to add that colorless mana to our mana pool. Get down Baleful Strix. Draw into Jace. Okay, that's really good. Let's go ahead and tap out again. Let's go blue. Let's go and tap out on Contraband Kingpin. Actually, we should have sequenced that one just a little bit differently, because we'd have gotten a scry off of that one. That would have been just a little bit better for us to go for. Let's add that mana to our mana pool again. Let's tap out for Big Jace. You know, let's go and brainstorm with Jace. Let's go and draw 3 cards and put some cards back off of this one. Disallow, Command Tower, and Scrubland. Okay, let's go and put Temple of Deceit back, and let's go and put Academy Ruins back. Let's go and get down Jace. Okay, that's going to give us more than enough blockers off that one and keep us online for disallow. Anything else that we need to go for? No, we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. So that was a really good top deck drawing into that last card. Do we want to swing in with Chromium? And actually, now that I think about it, sorry, I thought we were kind of dead on board and I got ahead of myself. So we should have swung in with Chromium first. That would have allowed us to untap all of our creatures and we would get in for a little bit of extra damage off of that one. So that was a little bit of poor sequencing on my part, but yeah, I thought we were dead on board, but then once we kind of got Paradox Engine, you can see how powerful Paradox Engine is in a deck like this, especially when you have some really access to some really good colored mana like Mox Amber and then Mox Opal. So at this point right now, we're probably going to be on the game plan of getting Jace going, drawing 3 cards. Really want to keep our hand fueled. If they want to swing in with some of these warrior tokens, they can. We at least do have Arcane Denial and Disallow to at least kind of keep our opponent's commander off the battlefield to kind of stop those warriors from swinging in at us. And then we'll see what else sort of kind of action we can draw into. Okay, the opponent's going to go to the combat step. Let's see how they want to do this. All right, no swinging from our opponent, which is actually really good. That allows us to keep digging a little bit deeper with Jace, and we'll be able to get down Command Tower and have access to, whatever sort of color that we need. Drawn 2 Academy Runes. Let's go and go for Jace activation, draw 3 cards, then put 2 back. It'd be really nice to find some sort of shuffle effect to get rid of the... Ooh, Tezzeret. That is exactly what we need. Let's do this. Let's go and put Temple of Deceit. Actually, let's put Academy... Let's put Scrubland on top. We'll put Waste on top. Let's go and get down Temple of Deceit. That way we can scry away one of those lands. Okay, let's go and put that on the bottom. Let's go and go for a Jace activation, because actually once we cast a spell, we'll be able to do that. Let's go and get rid of, at this point, get rid of Scrublands. Let's go and swing in with Chromium and Baleful Strix. Now, unfortunately, we're never going to be able to get Jace to flip because of that Rest in Peace, but at least it's going to allow us to kind of keep looting with Paradox Engine. So let's go and swing in for 8 across the board. That will put our opponent down. All right, knock our opponent down to 23, and that will get some mill action with Mindcrank entering the Exile Zone. Let's go ahead and get down Tezzeret. That's going to allow us to add some of that mana to our mana pool first. Let's go Monolith. And we'll add Talisman of Dominance. Don't really want to die to a burn spell or something like that. So let's go and add black and blue off of this one. Be really careful with our life total at this point right now. Alright, cast all, untap all non-land permanents we control. Get down Tezzeret. Let's go and go for a Jace activation to see if we can't draw into something. Ooh, Sphinx Revelation. That is absolutely wonderful. Let's go and get rid of Academy Ruins right now because we're never really going to be able to utilize that one. And do we want to use that extra mana to draw into some cards? That's going to be 3 mana floating. If we end up going for that one, that'll probably close the game, not close the game out, but it'll really give us a good advantage. Let's do that. Let's go for a +1 off Tezzeret. Get that artifact. We'll get the scry going. Ironworks. Let's go and put that on the bottom for right now. Yeah, and let's go and tap out for a pretty good Sphinx Revelation with that extra mana. That's going to be white, then double blue. Tap out for colorless. That's going to be white, white, Talisman, and then Monolith off of this. And actually, if we want to, we can... let's go and cast Sphinx Revelation. And we'll just simply go ahead and leave up that Ethereum Cell. All right, we're going to draw 11 cards off of this one. Untap all non-land permanents we control. There we go. Let's go and tap down Monolith. Let's go and add blue to our mana pool. And I may kind of speed this one up. And Detention Sphere, let's go and put that on top, actually. It's going to put both of those on the bottom. We do draw into that Detention Sphere. Let's go and add white to our mana pool. And let's go and get down Detention Sphere. Going to exile all those warrior tokens from our opponent. Yes, we're going to use that ability. And we could have actually been digging a little bit deeper with Jace, but since we do have a pretty good... Actually, we'll go and use Fabricate. I just now saw that we had Fabricate in the hand. We'll go and untap non permanents we control. And then actually with Fabricate, that'll put us online for Chaos Wand. But let's just go and pass the turn to our opponent. Our opponent's been more than enough gracious off of this one. And then we're just going to go and pass the turn. We do have that mana left over, but we'll go and let them do their thing. And then, yeah, anything else, we're going to kick it over. Let's go and get rid of some of these lands, get rid of Caves, Halimar Depths, and then Buried Ruin. Okay, kick the turn back over. As you can tell, we got all the way down to 4. We were able to stabilize off of that one. With Contraband Kingpin, it actually works out really well in this deck to whenever we're getting down artifacts, we can really take advantage of that, kind of start going from there. Now, we did search up Chaos Wand off of this one. We could have gotten it down and really kind of started churning through our opponent's deck, but our opponent's been a really good sport on this one, so I definitely wanted to not chew up too much of their time. But next turn, we'll swing in, and we'll more than likely end up going for Contraband Kingpin. No, excuse me, go for Chaos Wand to kind of start going from there. Now we are online for Disallow and Arcane Denial to kind of stop whatever sort of spell that they're going for, and we have a pretty sizable threat in the air, but let's see what they're going to be tapping out for. All right, let's go and go for disallow off of that one. That's going to be blue, blue, tap down Everflowing Chalice, and we'll just simply add our mana across the board off this one. All right, and let's go and go for a Jace loot off of this one real quick. Draw into something else, and we'll discard an additional card. We'll get rid of Polluted Delta. All right, let's go and kick the turn back over and see what else, if they have anything else to get down. Okay, an opponent kicks it over. See what you're drawn to island. Let's go and get down Command Tower. Let's go and go for Sword of Feast and Famine. That's going to be 1, 2, 3. You can just see how Sai getting these Thopters down, just this, we have this thriving board state. Let's go ahead and put Spellskite on the bottom. Let's go ahead and equip Sword of Feast and Famine onto Chromium. It's going to allow us to add a bunch of mana to our mana pool. This is going to be 9, 10 coming across. Let's go ahead and get down Chaos Wand, now that I think about it. All right, it's going to give us an additional 1. Let's go and add that mana to our mana pool. And at this point right now, let's see if we can't dig into our opponent's library for some sort of extra combat step. So I'm going to go for a few Chaos Wand activations off of this one. Oh, and unfortunately, we off the reveal off of that, we run into something that we couldn't cast off of that. Okay, let's go ahead and get down Mind Stone. We'll add that last mana to our mana pool. And so we're going to go for a collective effort off of this one. Put a +1 counter on... Actually, yeah, we'll actually go for Destroy Target Enchantment. We'll go for 2 modes. We're going to Destroy Target Enchantment, put a +1 counter on each creature that target player controls. So we're going to take care of Rest in Peace, and then we're going to put a +1 counter on each creature that we control. And tap an untap creature we control. We're going to go and tap down Thopter. It's going to untap all of our permanents. And that's going to put us at 10, 12. It's going to be 14 coming across. Yeah, let's go and do this. We'll just go ahead and kind of really tune up our opponent's clock on this one. So let's go and push across with Chromium. We could go for a few more activations off of that one, but I like doing this one. So let's go and swing across with Contraband Kingpin. Let's go and swing across with Jace. And we'll go and swing across with Sai and that last Thopter. Okay, opponent's going to scoop it up on this one. So what we could have done is, actually, I'll pull that board state back up. Sorry about that weird edit. Sometimes whenever the game ends, it shoots it back to the desktop or it shoots it back to the loading screen. I kind of want to talk about the board state that we had developed. So long story short, we could have kept going for a Chaos Wand activation, casting a lot of stuff out of our opponent's library. You can definitely know that there's probably a lot of really proactive combat spells in our opponent's deck. We got to see collective effort on the second Chaos Wand activation by putting a +1 counter on target creature, or each creature that target player controls. And so basically what would have happened is I was just swinging in really quick just to kind of go and pass the turn to our opponent. That way we're not chewing the clock up. But we could have just kept going for Chaos Wand activations and gotten that going. We had Tezzeret on the battlefield. We're looking at the -7. We could get that going pretty quick. And if we actually get into OG Tezzeret, the 4-mana Tezzeret, we have more than enough artifacts on the battlefield. We can really kind of start going for that. That target player loses twice the number of life of artifacts that we control. But you can also see how it's just, this deck is a lot of fun. You can get this thriving board state going. You get stuff down like Contraband Kingpin. You have that scry ability. You're going to be able to get some Thopters on the battlefield with Sai Master Thopterist. So those really kind of work together. You end up with a little army and a can going for that one. There's just a lot of, obviously we get blown out to some sort of destroy all artifact spell. But going Chromium build in here, you can kind of support that Chromium Voltron package with stuff like Sword of Feast and Famine. And it just works really well with a ton of artifacts. As you can tell, we're running the Mindcrank combo in here. Our opponent did get down Rest in Peace. And we actually Dustmantle Guildmage on top of our library at one point right there, so we could have gone for the combo with Dustmantle Guildmage to get rid of that Rest in Peace, because that actually shuts off the Thopter Foundry combo and it shuts off Mindcrank combo. But we're able to build up an entire board state, kind of stabilize at 4 life and kind of go from there. Some of the play was a little bit sloppy, and simply was because when there's a lot of moving parts like this, you have to tap down a lot of mana. You're trying to give commentary, trying to make sure you're going for the best play. You're like, oh crap, I missed this Planeswalker activation. The more moving parts you add to a deck or a board state, it makes it harder to kind of manage that board state. So, but yeah, we got a pretty good board state developed, and yeah, it's always nice stabilizing at 4. In fact, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.